Apple has brought some impressive upgrades to iPadOS 26. From redefined multitasking to improved mic and audio input controls, this new version empowers the iPad in ways we've long waited for. The interface feels sharper, the multitasking more fluid, and there's finally a sense that iPadOS is approaching the feel of macOS. But is it really there yet? Can the iPad, especially the iPad Pro running iPadOS 26, become your only computer? Despite the substantial progress, iPadOS 26 still falls short in key areas that stop it from being a true Mac alternative. The hardware might be ready with the M4 chip in the iPad Pro, but the software, that's where the real limitations still lie. Whether you're a creative professional, a coder, or just someone who needs versatility in a desktop setup, there's a lot left wanting in the iPadOS ecosystem. In this in-depth breakdown, Technology Review dives into every single thing iPadOS 26 still can't do, even in 2025. If you're considering dropping $1,000 plus on an iPad Pro, here's what Apple doesn't exactly highlight in the keynote. One window to rule them all? Not quite. Apple touts the new windowing system as a breakthrough, and to some extent it is. You can now resize, reposition, and layer app windows more freely than ever. It's the closest we've come to Mac-like multitasking on the iPad, but it's also where the illusion starts to fall apart. For developers and power users, the lack of a terminal on iPadOS remains one of the biggest bottlenecks. There's no command line interface, no way to execute scripts, no Xcode. You can't compile, build, or test native apps. Even basic automation that relies on scripting beyond Apple's Shortcuts app is a no-go. While this may seem niche, it matters. Developers, sysadmins, data scientists, and even technical creators rely on command line utilities to get work done. And while cloud-based coding platforms exist, they are stopgaps, not replacements. iPadOS just doesn't cut it for anything beyond casual or surface-level dev work. Still no real multi-user support. Want to share your iPad with a child or a spouse? On macOS, it's a breeze. Different profiles, individual settings, and privacy baked in. On iPadOS 26, however, this is still off the table. There's no user switching, no guest profiles, no real separation of spaces. Sure, focus modes can create context-specific screens, but it's just not the same as having dedicated user profiles. If you live in a shared household, the iPad's one-user design quickly becomes limiting, especially when kids and adults need very different things from their devices. Peripheral limitations and customization gaps. Apple may love calling the iPad your next computer, but it doesn't treat it like one when it comes to third-party support. Take Logitech's MX Master Mouse, for example. On macOS, you get complete control, button remapping, pointer speeds, and app-specific profiles. On iPadOS, you get basic functionality, and that's about it. The same goes for keyboards, audio interfaces, or even USB hubs. Most will work in a generic sense, but fine-tuning and software-level control often require Mac-only applications. You're stuck with plug-and-play, not professional customization. And don't even try to customize your iPad's top menu bar with third-party tools like you can on Mac. No CPU monitors, no clipboard tools, no memory usage displays. The menu bar Apple added in iPadOS 26 is cleaner, sure, but it's also locked down. Just another reminder that you're still in a walled garden. Gaming and full-screen external display still a miss. The iPad Pro has power to rival the MacBook Air, sometimes even the MacBook Pro. But that power doesn't translate cleanly when gaming, especially on external displays. Games that run beautifully on the iPad's display still don't stretch to full screen on external monitors. You're left with black bars, unoptimized scaling, and poor aspect ratio control. This might sound like a minor gripe, but for users hoping to treat the iPad like a true gaming laptop replacement, it's not there yet. Apple Silicon inside, yes. macOS level gaming support outside? Still missing. Audio management? Better, but still one at a time. iPadOS 26 did improve audio controls. You get more refined input-output switching and slightly better mic control. But here's the catch, you're still locked to one audio source at a time. If you're listening to music and open a YouTube video, your music stops. There's no multi-source audio layering, no channel routing, No fine control over audio input-output paths like there is on macOS. It's audio simplicity, not audio flexibility. No real diagnostics or network tools. On macOS, when your Wi-Fi acts up, you can open a suite of diagnostics and troubleshoot your connection, DNS, or network interface. On iPadOS, you're flying blind. Restart your router and hope for the best. Apple's minimalism might be by design, but it leaves pro users without the tools they need when things go wrong. That lack of transparency and control is exactly why power users hesitate to trust iPads for anything mission-critical. Developer tools are practically non-existent. You can't install Xcode. You can't run a simulator. No support for Docker. No Git integration like you get on a Mac. Sure, some cloud-based workarounds exist, but these are not long-term solutions for real developers. Even basic coding tools like Visual Studio Code or Sublime Text have either limited or non-existent support. If you're trying to build, test, and deploy code, look elsewhere. iPadOS just isn't ready. The iPad is still App Store locked. While Macs allow you to install software from practically anywhere, iPads are still tightly locked to the App Store unless you go through corporate device management tools or Safari-based workarounds. That means no sideloading without jailbreaking and no freedom to use experimental software. This alone makes the iPad a non-starter for many tinkerers, testers, and folks who need the full flexibility of a traditional computing platform. So, is iPadOS 26 worth it? Absolutely. It's the best iPadOS yet, hands down. Multitasking feels genuinely useful, external monitor support is better than ever, and Apple continues blurring the line between a tablet and a laptop. But let's not kid ourselves. As powerful as the iPad Pro is, as optimized as iPadOS May 26th be, it's still not macOS. And for many users, especially professionals, creators, and developers, that difference matters. macOS still gives you more flexibility, more customization, more tools, more control. If the iPad Pro is your only device, you'll quickly notice what's missing once the honeymoon phase wears off. Conclusion: iPadOS isn't a Mac replacement yet. The iPad Pro with iPadOS 26 is a phenomenal device, but it's not a MacBook replacement. Not for coders. Not for multi-user households. Not for gamers who want full screen on external monitors. And certainly not for anyone needing diagnostics, scripting, terminal access, or hardware customization. Apple has done a remarkable job pushing the iPad closer to the Mac. But in that same motion, they've also kept it just far enough away to preserve the MacBook's value. Whether that's good product segmentation or unnecessary limitation depends on who you ask. If you're choosing between the M4 iPad Pro and the M3 MacBook Air, weigh what you need from your computer. If portability, touch input, and creative tools are your priority, the iPad Pro is a dream. But if flexibility, power, and full macOS level features matter, you're not there yet.